Karl Anthony-Towns returns, and the Los Angeles Lakers get their biggest win that may prove that they are ready to be a playoff team. We're going to get to both those topics and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
All right, NBA fans, welcome to another episode of NBA Central. You guys can follow the show right now at NBA Central Pod on Twitter, where we do most of our business at. But with that being said, I wanted to talk to you guys about what's going on in the Western Conference with two key games and a return and things going down yesterday. So coming off the injury to Paul George, which we're still waiting on details from to kind of figure out exactly how long he's going to be out and what that injury is going to look like as far as the timetable for return and things like that. But we had the return of Karl Anthony-Towns last night for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and this is a return that everybody kind of waiting to see what it was going to look like, right? Like how were the Minnesota Timberwolves going to look with the return of Karl Anthony-Towns? Were they going to go back to looking like the team that was struggling at one point early in the season? Or were they going to be able to integrate him pretty quickly? How well was he going to look? Now, while it's only one game and we don't want to overrate or underrate really or overvalue one game, Karl Anthony-Towns came in and had the highest plus minus on the team at plus 13. Did not shoot the ball efficiently. He went 8 of 18, which isn't too bad, but isn't great either. 4 for 4 from the free throw line. He only had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, but 22 points, being the second leading scorer to McDaniels in that game. But again, having the highest plus minus, and why this is important, right? When you look at the landscape of the Western Conference and what's going on in the playoff race there, with the Clippers suffering an injury there, Golden State Warriors, how bad they are on the road. They're 9-29 on the road, which is crazy. There could be a significant team that move up. And the Minnesota Timberwolves right now are the 7th. If they can get a one spot, they can get out that playing race. And the return of Karl Anthony-Towns, at least in this game, like I said, didn't look the best. I don't want to make it seem like it was world beaters or anything, but it seemed like the team learning how to play without Karl Anthony-Towns, and albeit too, let's keep in mind, Anthony Edwards was also out of this game, so did leave a lot of shots that needed to be replaced. But the team learning how to play games and win games without Karl Anthony-Towns, it seems like it's allowed Towns to come back in, kind of just come in and do his thing, but kind of learn to pick his spots a little bit more. And once Edwards is back in the lineup as well, I'd be interested to see how they work it all on offense. But it seemed like, at least in this game, that it was a better fit with him and Rudy Gobert out there. Now, he played 26 minutes. Rudy Gobert played 33, but it just seemed like it fit a little bit better than what it did at any point earlier in the season before he initially went down with that injury. So, and they were playing a non-traditional lineup when you look at them starting both Kyle Anderson and McDaniels in there, not really having another true guard out there outside of Mike Conley. But at least for that night, it did seem like, hey, this team that's already, won some game, they're on a 2-game winning streak. They're 5-5 in their last 10. With the way that the Clippers are expected to maybe drop, the Minnesota Timberwolves could make a run. And, we'll see how Karl Anthony continues to develop and fit in this team now that he's back in it. And if they can fit him in a little bit better and they can find a better balance of what it was initially at the start of the season. But getting a player like Towns back for the last handful of games this season, it's going to be important, and we can see the Minnesota Timberwolves going a little bit of a run here. Let me know what you guys think on that one down below if you think the Timberwolves can go on a run. But let's talk about what maybe was one of the most exciting games of the night last night, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Phoenix Suns. And this is a game that the Los Angeles Lakers battled back to win this game, winning the fourth quarter by 12 points, ultimately winning the game by 11 points. And a team win the Lakers. And one thing that I said when LeBron went down was that this may allow the team to really, it's going to allow, the GM to really take a look and evaluate, the talent on this roster, who he wanted to keep, who he wanted to send away when they're projected to have some cap space next year and be able to maybe add another talent to the team. But this team is also battling and fighting and really developing an identity without LeBron. Austin Reeves, who is set to get a lot of money when this offseason comes around, he's about to get paid. And considering they already let Alex Caruso go 2 years prior, they may be keen to keep an even younger player who's maybe even more versatile, who's averaging 12.3 points per game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on 50% shooting, 52% shooting if we're being exact. only 24 years old. They cannot let this guy go, especially if they're going after to try to add a significant salary to this team. They may be more likely to keep him. And Russell, who is trying to vie for a spot to be the long-term starting point guard here, he also chips in 26 points. You have Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, both with 26 points each. Reeves leading the team in plus minus at plus 18. But then you also had Anthony Davis scoring 27 points, going 10 of 18 from the field, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, and the Los Angeles Lakers overall shoot 55% from the field, only taking 17 threes, but hitting 47% of those. And, it's just, and Dennis Schroeder as well. Dennis Schroeder just being the do-it-all player for them in many ways. I said it before. If the Lakers do end up holding on to this play-in spot, and I don't necessarily expect, they're not going to be able to make it into the play-in. They're going to have to go, playoffs. They're going to have to go through the play-in regardless. But with the way that they're playing right now, considering Dallas Mavericks are still struggling at times, shout out to the OKC Thunder as well, who's been able to get firmly in that 8 spot, which they were out of it a little while ago, pushing the Utah Jazz and the New Orleans Pelicans out. But if the Lakers continue this level of play and you're getting LeBron James back before the end of the season, which they have said that he will make his return at some point this season, the Lakers may be poised to be an upset specialist looking at it. Like I've said it, if the Lakers, not that I'm necessarily picking them to make it out the play-in, but with the level of basketball that they would have to play from now until the end of the season, they're going to be riding some momentum, getting LeBron James back, everybody on this team being tested and having to play in larger roles. And once they're able to settle into, roles once LeBron comes back as well, and maybe secondary roles, or maybe even LeBron being able to just pick his spots a little bit better because this team has gone through this play-in push without him. The Lakers, as much as I hate to say it because I'm not a Laker fan, the Lakers absolutely could be poised to upset some teams in this play-in tournament. And considering how we were talking about them at the start of the season to the trade deadline when they made moves and revamped this roster to where they are now, the Los Angeles Lakers got a big chance and a big opportunity to really do some special things and some fun things in this offseason. You guys can let me know what you think down below. Do you think I'm off my rocker? Do you think that the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers could really make some moves here on the back 10 games of the season that significantly change the way that maybe the playoffs are structured as a whole, especially, like I said, when you're factoring in the Clippers, the Golden State Warriors rolled woes, even though the Golden State Warriors, shout out to them for getting out of that play-in area after just like 3 weeks ago being out of the play-in completely. So we'll see. The Western Conference playoff race is going to be one of the more interesting races to watch here as the season ends and we get to the final, really, week and a half of the season. Let me know what you guys think on everything down below. That is it for me for today, man. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you're following the show at NBA Central Show. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail, the number to do so, 770-270-2799. We are soon to be the number one spot for everything basketball related. We love you guys. We out this mug. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.